Welcome to Wavescan, the international DX program from Adventist World Radio. Researched and written in Indianapolis by Dr. Adrian Peterson. Produced in the studios of WRMI Shortwave in Okeechobee, Florida. I'm Jeff White. This is edition NWS 755 for release on Sunday, August 13th, 2023. On Wavescan today, the radio station on the wonderful Isle of Dreams. Part 4 of Jonathan Marks' conversation with Dr. Graham Mitton of the BBC. And our Philippine DX report. Florida, vacation state for admiring tourists, winter haven for shivering northerners, holiday playground for traveling families, and jumping off destination for cruise ship devotees. However, in addition to these idyllic descriptions that lure the wandering visitors and invite them to flow into Florida, we can also remember that the state of Florida has featured prominently in the international scene of shortwave radio broadcasting. Currently on the air today is a large facility of WRMI, where we're recording this program, with its 14 shortwave transmitters on a site formerly operated by Family Radio, a little north of Lake Okeechobee, one of the largest freshwater lakes in the United States. In earlier years, commercial station WRMI had broadcast with 2 shortwave transmitters from a site a little north of Miami itself in Hialeah. But even earlier, before that, there was station W4XB, WBKM, WDJM, the shortwave counterpart of the AM station WIOD. Ray Robbins has that story for us.
Thanks, Jeff. Back in the spring of 1925, Carl Fisher commenced the construction of an AM medium wave radio broadcasting station on Collins Island, Miami Beach in Florida. He'd already built several luxury hotels in this new vacation area, which served as a winter haven for visiting tourists from the colder northern regions. The concept in establishing this radio station back in the pioneer days when radio was still a novelty was to publicize his tourist facilities located on this sandspit, sandwiched between the Atlantic Ocean and Biscayne Bay. A Western Electric WE106A transmitter rated at 1 kilowatt and tuned to 1210 kHz was installed in a 2-story building on Collins Island that also housed the studios and offices for this new radio venture. The antenna towers were erected behind the main building. They stood 250 feet high and they were spaced 385 feet apart. The counterpoise ground system consisted of nearly 14 miles of wire buried in the saltwater marshy areas. Test broadcasts from the new WIOD were authorized by the Department of Commerce on January the 5th, 1926, and the official license was dated 4 days later. A regular radio broadcasting service was commenced from the new WIOD on January the 19th, 1926, as the second radio station in the Miami area. The call sign WIOD, as is so well known in Miami, stands for Wonderful Isle of Dreams, an idyllic reference to Fisher's tourist area at Miami Beach. Over the years, station WIOD has moved several times with studios in the Fleetwood Hotel, the Miami Herald Building, the Miami News Building, on Cameo Island, in North Bay Village, in Miramar, and now in Pembroke Pines. The WIOD transmitter and antennas have also been moved on several occasions, from Collins Island, later known as Cloughton Island, to a tower on top of the Miami News Building, to Little Cameo Island, and currently in nearby North Bay Village. It was a common practice in those days to erect antenna masts on top of tall buildings in an endeavour to gain greater height and thereby extended coverage areas. However, this widespread practice was discarded a few years later after it was discovered that the poor grounding system of a tall building actually limited the coverage area of a medium wave transmitter. And thus the WIOD transmitter was soon afterwards moved from the tall Miami building to Little Cameo Island. A Among the other changes and developments experienced by WIOD were changes in call sign from WIOD to WCKR and then back again to WIOD. The transmitter power, originally 1 kilowatt, was increased to 5 kilowatts in 1941 and to 10 kilowatts in 1981. A CP, or construction permit, was approved by the FCC in 2017 for an increase to 50,000 watts day, 20,000 watts night from yet another transmitter site, but this has never been built by the current owners, iHeartMedia. Likewise, there have been several changes in frequency, 7 in all, though the current channel, 610 kHz, has been in use continuously since 1937. For much of its broadcast history, WIOD was an easy-listening music station with top 40 hits during the evenings during the 60s and 70s. In 1989, the station switched to a news talk format, which is now branded as News Radio 610 WIOD, Miami's news, traffic and weather station.
WIOD, Miami, WBGG FM HD2, Fort Lauderdale, available everywhere with the iHeartRadio app. Now, number 1 for podcasting. News Radio 610 WIOD and iHeartRadio 6. From ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. A grand jury in the classified documents case involving Donald Trump.
However, as far as the international broadcasting facility is concerned, their era of shortwave broadcasting is what's of real interest and importance to us. The purposes for the parallel relay of programming on shortwave was to increase the coverage area of the AM medium wave station, to encourage winter tourism from the colder northern areas of North America, and to publicize the vacation advantages that can be discovered in Florida. In 1932, just 6 years after the medium wave station was launched, station WIOD announced that a shortwave transmitter was under construction. This unit, assembled by their engineering staff, was inaugurated in July of the same year, 1932, with programming in parallel with the medium wave unit, which was on 1300 kHz at the time. Under the call sign W4XB, this new transmitter was noted internationally soon afterwards with test broadcasts in the 49 meter band. The WIOD shortwave station always operated on only the one channel, 6040 kHz. The printed schedule for this new broadcast operation showed a few hours in the afternoons and evenings, with extended transmissions on Sundays. Interestingly, in February 1933, the shortwave transmitter W4XB was noted in Australia with test broadcasts in conjunction with Radio Manila in the Philippines. In those days, distant stations would observe a pre-arranged schedule for the purpose of exchanging live programming, and thus listeners in Florida and throughout North America had the opportunity on this occasion of hearing radio programs from a distant country, the Philippines. Throughout its entire lifetime, shortwave W4XB, WBKM, WDJM was on the air from the same two transmitters, a pair of homebrew 5 kilowatt units, always on 6040 kHz. On occasions, the station was off the air for extended periods of time due to what would be described these days as transmitter maintenance. Available information suggests that there was only ever the one location for the shortwave transmitter, and that was at the original WIOD location on Collins, or Cloughton, Island. This island is long since gone. It was taken over by a highway and a hospital, and nearby marshy areas were filled in for housing estates. As we noted, the original call sign for the shortwave transmitter was W4XB. Now, you might think that call makes the station look like an amateur operation, but that was not the case. Back in that era, call signs for this type of configuration were looked upon as being experimental. They could be either amateur or professional. The X after the number indicated experimental. With armed conflict looming over the international scene in continental Europe, the federal licensing authorities required all shortwave broadcasting stations in the United States to discard their experimental call signs and to register a regularized call sign effective September the 1st, 1939. During the hasty events of this crisis period, WIOD shortwave was noted for a short period of time in Australia and New Zealand with the call sign WKBM.